Lila Hayes said it without looking up, fingers steady as she straightened the collar on Rhett Reaper, Landry's worn leather vest. Rhett went still. She stepped back, smoothed the leather one last time, and gave him the smallest nod. Her shift was over. The warning had been delivered. Rhett didn't ask why. He didn't raise his voice. "Lock the doors," he said, calm as winter. His eyes stayed forward. "And call Bo right now." A younger server near the kitchen froze. "You heard me," Rhett added. Then he turned toward the back office. After 2 steps, he stopped and looked back at Lila. "My office," he said. Now, Lila's heart was already slamming against her ribs when she followed him. And before this goes any further, if you love gritty, jaw-tight stories where one choice changes everything, hit subscribe to Hidden Heroes right now. Also, quick question. If you were Lila, would you warn him or stay quiet and stay safe? Only an hour earlier, Lila had been wiping down the corner booth, moving like she always did, quiet, forgettable, invisible. 6 months working at Hank's Route 66 Diner taught her one rule. Silence keeps you unseen, and unseen keeps you alive. That's when she noticed them. 3 men, leather jackets, not the local crew style, not the usual faces. Wrong colors, wrong attitude, and the kind of stillness that doesn't belong in a place built on noise. They weren't there to eat. They sat by the front window, beers barely touched, eyes locked on the back corner where Rhett sat with his riders, laughing, relaxed, like men who believed the night still belonged to them. Lila's chest tightened. Around here, crews respected lines, turf, boundaries. Nobody came this close without permission, unless they wanted trouble. She should have turned away, should have done her job, should have kept her head down. Instead, she walked closer, refilling water glasses she'd already filled twice, just to be near enough to hear. That's when one of them muttered, 20 minutes. Soon as he steps out, another said, low and pleased. We move, a third chuckled. Boss wants him bleeding, not dead. Not yet. Then the third man tugged his jacket back just enough. Lila caught the cold glint of steel tucked into his waistband. Her breath caught. Her hand tightened around the pitcher. It clinked too hard on the table. All 3 heads turned. You good? One asked, eyes narrowing. Lila forced a smile so fast it felt like it might crack. Yeah, just clumsy. The man stared a beat too long, like he was memorizing her face, then turned back to his beer. Lila walked away on legs that didn't feel like hers. She needed to tell Rhett. But how do you walk up to a man like that surrounded by his crew and whisper, someone's about to cut you down? Best case, they laugh at you. Worst case, they assume you're part of it. So she waited. By 9:47 p.m., Rhett stood up, rolled his shoulders, and the whole table followed, slapping backs, trading jokes. That easy brotherhood that looks like armor until it isn't. Lila's pulse spiked. He was leaving. She grabbed a rag and drifted toward the front like she was cleaning the coat rack by the door. Like she belonged there. Like she wasn't about to step into something that could get her killed. Rhett reached for his vest on the hook. Lila stepped in front of him. Sir, she said softly. Your vest. He blinked. It's fine. No, she insisted, reaching up. It's crooked. He let her, distracted, already thinking about the ride home, the dark road, the quiet. That's when she leaned in and whispered the words that changed everything. Don't go. They're outside waiting for you. Now, in his office, Rhett closed the door behind them. Start from the beginning, he said. Lila did. Fast, clean, no drama. 3 men by the window. The whispers. The timeline. The blade. The way they watched him like they'd already decided what he was worth. Rhett listened without interrupting. His face didn't show anger. It showed math. When she finished, he was quiet for a long moment. You're sure? He said finally. Yes. You know what you're saying. Yes. And you still warn me. Lila swallowed. Yes. Something settled behind Rhett's eyes, like a switch flipped. A knock hit the door. Bo Harlan, Rhett's right hand, stepped in, already tense. Boss, Bo said. 3 riders from the Cobra Fang crew are posted outside, armed, waiting. Rhett exhaled slow. I know. Bo's gaze flicked to Lila. Rhett followed it. She saved my life, Rhett said, simple and final. Bo nodded once respect, then understanding. Then he stepped back out. Rhett looked at Lila again, like he was seeing her for the first time. You shouldn't have had to handle that, he said. I'm fine, Lila lied, hands still shaking. Rhett's voice dropped. No, you're not, and neither is this place. He studied her, quietly impressed, quietly unsettled. I want you with me today, he said. Lila blinked. With you? I pour coffee. You watched men get ready to carve me up, he said, and you stopped it without lighting yourself up as a target. That's not pouring coffee. That's instinct. Lila held his stare. Fear was still there, hot and sharp, but something else rose over it. Resolve. All right, she said. But if I come, I tell you what I see, even if you don't like it. One corner of his mouth lifted. Deal. As Lila stepped out of the office, she realized something worse than danger had just happened. She was no longer invisible. And once a man like Rhett Reaper Landry notices you, there's no going back. The black bike rumbled in the lot, engine idling low like a warning. Lila stood by the side door, beside Rhett, not in her diner uniform anymore, but in a borrowed leather jacket from one of the crew's longtime partners. It fit like it had been waiting for her. She looked like she belonged. She didn't feel like she did. Rhett snapped his gloves into place, then glanced at her. You ready? Lila nodded. As I'll ever be? The ride started quiet. Bo led the way. 2 riders flanked them. The desert stretched wide rock, scrub, and sunset like a burn across the horizon. Lila had never been close to power like this. Not money, power. The kind built on loyalty, fear, and men who mean what they say. What are we walking into? She asked over the wind. Sit down, Rhett replied, eyes on the road. Cobra Fangs want to talk about lines. You don't believe that. I don't believe anything that shows up armed and calls it conversation. They rolled up to an abandoned warehouse on the edge of town. No cops, no witnesses, just business. Inside, the air was thick like the building itself was holding its breath. A long metal table sat in the middle. Around it, 5 men, all wearing the same snake patch Cobra Fang crew. At the head sat their president, Vance Fang Kessler. Gray beard, scarred, knuckles, eyes that looked like they forgot how to feel. He stood when Rhett walked in. Landry, Vance said. Flat. Appreciate you showing. Let's keep it quick, Rhett said. Introductions were brief. Lila stayed behind Rhett, slightly to his left, quiet and forgettable on purpose. Nobody asked who she was. They assumed she didn't matter. Good. Vance laid out his offer. Access to 3 bars on Rhett's side. In exchange, they'd stay out of the East End. It sounded reasonable. Too reasonable. Lila watched Vance's hands. They never stopped moving. Ring. Table. Beard. Ring again. Calm voice. Nervous. Body. When Rhett mentioned the ambush outside Hank's Route 66 diner, Vance's jaw tightened for half a second before he laughed. That wasn't us, he said. A couple idiots went freelance. Already handled. Lila leaned in just enough to murmur. He's lying. Rhett didn't react, but his fingers tapped once on the table, his signal he heard her. Minutes later, Vance steered the talk toward protection fees and new routes like he couldn't wait to get to the real subject. Lila's gaze shifted to Vance's vice president, who checked his phone like it was giving him instructions. Then she noticed it. A duffel bag under the table near the vice president's boots. Too heavy. Too stiff. Lila leaned closer. His VP keeps checking his phone, she whispered. And there's a duffel under the table. Rhett nodded once. Then he stood. Before we go any further, he said, we're checking the room. The Cobra Fangs went still. That necessary? Vance asked. After what happened outside my place. Rhett's voice stayed calm. Yeah, it is. Vance forced a smile. Fine. Levi's stayed calm. Yeah, it is. Vance forced a smile. Fine. Bo stepped in with a handheld scanner. It didn't take long. A recording device taped under the table. And inside the duffel 3 unregistered guns. Vance's face drained. Nobody spoke. Rhett stood slow, like gravity took its time around him. His voice came out soft and dangerous. Anybody who thinks they can set me up in my own backyard, he said, better start praying they like the taste of desert sand. Silence. Rhett turned slightly, looking at Lila so everyone could see it. Thank you, he said, clear, loud enough for every man in that room to understand who just changed the game. Then Rhett and his crew walked out without another word. Back at the clubhouse later, Lila finally let herself breathe. That was impressive, Rhett said. Lila shook her head. I just watched. Rhett's gaze held hers. No, you saw. And now the people across the table knew it too. The next morning, Lila went back to Hank's for her regular shift. Coffee refills, pancake orders, fake smiles. But the diner felt smaller now, like the walls were listening. That's when she noticed a man in the corner, booth mid-40s, clean-cut, polo and khakis. Not a biker. Not local. Not local. He'd been there an hour. No food, just coffee. And he kept checking his phone. Lila's instincts flared again. She walked over, casual. Need anything else? The man smiled without warmth. I'm good. Just waiting on someone. Lila nodded, walked away, and memorized everything about him. The posture. The way his jacket hung. The square bulge under the fabric that wasn't a wallet. On break, she stepped outside and called Rhett. There's someone watching the diner, she said. Doesn't feel right. Stay inside, Rhett replied instantly. Bo is coming. 20 minutes later, Bo rolled in, ordered a burger, sat 2 booths from the man. The man's phone buzzed. He stood, left cash, and walked out. Bo followed. That night, Rhett called Lila to the clubhouse again. Bo stood by a laptop, pulling up footage. That guy you flagged, Bo said, private investigator. Out of Phoenix. Lila's stomach dropped. Who hired him? She asked. Rhett's face hardened. Allow your name Garrett Voss, he said. Big-time fixer. Represents people who don't show up in court. Because they don't leave witnesses. Lila frowned. Why would someone like that care about a biker crew? Rhett's voice went quiet. Because we don't just ride. We control routes, information, access. Lila sat down slowly. So this isn't about bars, she said. Or turf. Rhett nodded once. It's about something bigger. Then he looked at her like the weight of it was now hers too. And you just became the only person outside this room who knows. 2 nights later, Lila was closing Hank's when the lights went out. Total darkness. The red glow of the exit sign. Her breath, her heartbeat. Then footsteps slow, deliberate. Lila Hayes, a voice called from the shadows. We need to talk. Lila reached behind the counter for the knife she kept taped under the register. Who are you? A figure stepped into the dim red light. Vance Van Kessler. Relax, he said, hands raised. I'm not here to hurt you. Then why are you here? Lila snapped, knife steady. Vance leaned against a booth like he owned it. Because you're smart, he said. Smarter than Rhett thinks. Get to the point. Vance's smile thinned. The point is, Rhett is going to get you killed. You think you're helping him, but you're a pawn. And when this turns into a real war, pawns don't survive. Lila didn't lower the knife. Is that a threat? It's a warning, Vance said, standing straighter. Walk away. Go back to pouring coffee. Forget what you saw. Lila took one step closer. And if I don't? Vance's smile disappeared. Then you'll wish you did. He turned and walked out into the night like it swallowed him. Lila stood there for a long moment, breathing hard. Then she locked the door, grabbed her phone, and called Rhett. We need to talk, she said. Now. An hour later, Lila sat across from Rhett in his private office at the clubhouse walls, lined with old photos, old rides, old funerals. He came to threaten you, Rhett said, voice tight. No, Lila corrected. He came to scare me. There's a difference. Rhett leaned back. And are you scared? Lila met his eyes. I'm terrified, she said, but I'm not running. Something shifted in Rhett's expression. Respect. Maybe something deeper. Why? He asked quietly. Lila exhaled, then said the truth that had been living in her throat for years. Because I've spent my whole life invisible, she said. People like me clean up after people like you. We serve. We stay quiet. We disappear. She stood and paced, trying to keep her voice steady. But I saw something, and for once, someone listened. Lila stopped, facing him. You didn't dismiss me, she said. You trusted me. Her eyes hardened. So if Vance thinks I'm going to run because he showed up in the dark, he doesn't know me at all. Rhett walked to the window, staring out at the desert like it could answer him. This doesn't end clean, he said. People will get hurt. Lila nodded. I know. He turned back. Once you're in this, he said, you don't get out without consequences. Lila's voice was steady now. Then teach me how to survive it. Rhett studied her for a long moment. Then he opened a drawer and set a small handgun on the desk. Tomorrow, he said, we start. The week's blurred. Lila learned to shoot, to watch exits, to read body language like a second language. Bo taught her how to spot surveillance. One of the crew's women showed her how to carry a weapon without announcing it. But the most important lesson came from Rhett. Power isn't about who's loudest, he told her one night. It's about who's still standing when the noise stops. Lila absorbed it. And little by little, fear stopped driving. Preparation took its place. Then came Friday. The Cobra Fangs made their move. 3 of Rhett's operations hit in one night. Bars trashed. Bikes torched. One rider in the hospital. It wasn't tension anymore. It was war. Rhett called his crew together in the warehouse. 20 armed men. All eyes hard. Lila spoke up anyway. What if we don't fight them? She said. Every head turned. What if we expose them? Rhett frowned. Explain. Lila pulled out her phone. I've been tracking Voss, she said. He meets Vance every Tuesday at a motel outside Tucson. If we record that meeting, we prove who's backing this. Then we don't just beat the Cobra Fangs. She held Rhett's gaze. We bury them legally. Silence. Then Bo grinned. I like her. Rhett stared at Lila for a long beat. Then he nodded. All right, we do it your way. The plan was surgical. Lila wore a wire, walked into the motel posing as cleaning staff, planted a recorder in the room. The audio was worse than anyone expected. Money, roots, corruption, a plan to eliminate Rhett and take over the entire pipeline. Rhett handed it to federal agents. Within 48 hours, Garrett Voss and Vance Fang Kessler were in custody. The war ended without a shot fired. Months later, Lila stood behind the counter at Hank's, pouring coffee like she always had. But she wasn't the same woman anymore. Rhett walked in, sat at the counter, and smiled like the world hadn't almost swallowed them whole. You miss it? He asked. Lila shrugged. Sometimes. Rhett nodded. But you like it here? Yeah, Lila said. Quiet. Quiet's good. Rhett agreed. They sat in a silence that didn't feel empty. Then Lila leaned over, voice low. You ever think about how different it would have been if I kept my mouth shut that night? Rhett met her eyes. Every day, he said. And every day I'm grateful you didn't. Lila smiled, small but real. Me too. Outside, the desert wind brushed the parking lot. The neon sign buzzed. Life went on. But Lila Hayes was invisible no more. And in this world, being seen is the most dangerous thing of all.